Hi and welcome to The Winning Factor. I'm Aitken, and each week on this show we look at a couple of the races for Hong Kong on the weekend and try to identify perhaps a single element of the race that we'll look back on later as having been able to lead us to the winner. And the first race we're going to look at on Sunday is race 4. Winning factor here, the pace. Now this is a class 5, so we don't have any stars lining up in this. If you look down them, it's the form is typical of these kinds of races. There's bits and pieces of form without having anything solid. Daring Heart, Investor Boom and District Express are all dropping in class. The Last Start winner here, Money Winner, and Diamond Legend, Never Better, and even Fortune Way are all coming off a good last start run. As I say, it's typical of the class 5s. But we're going to take a closer look at a horse who has already had a win in the grade, and that's Flying Noble. Now if we go back to last season, the first time Flying Noble ran in a class 5, this is race 484 last season, and this was the same course and distance and even the same jockey, Derek Long, in the saddle as he has on Sunday. And this was a very comfortable win. You see him in the green and black colours. Handy to the pace, just behind the leaders, and he comes away in the straight for what is a very comfortable victory on that occasion. And it's not unusual to see his trainer Dennis Yip in the winner's circle after a class 5. And in fact, here's a premiership table that you don't see too often. This is over the last 10 years since the start of the 08-09 season, and these are the leading trainers in class 5. And right up the top there you see it's a torrid battle between Dennis Yip and Mi Choi. If we go back a little further than that, probably Mi Choi has the edge, but over 10 years they've been neck and neck, duking it out with 71 wins each over that time. Now we've had a look at Flying Noble's first run in class 5, and after that he was up in class and had about 10 runs in class 4. But more recently, he dropped again into class 5, and let's have a look at that, his most recent start. Now this was a different scenario, 1,650 metres on the dirt, and he bounced out of the gates under the hands of Dylan Moe and went fast enough to establish himself in the lead. As you see on the heat map, he had to run a little bit above average for the first half of the race to do that and to hold the front, and he did look a little bit keen in Dylan's hands over the 1,650 metres. Over the final stages, the early speed and the fact that he was a bit keen told on his stamina, and he weakened into 4th, but it was a pretty solid run all the same. But if we have a look at this race on the map, and we'll see that he's back to 1,400 metres, of course, the distance where he won so well, but he also looks to have a kind of setup with Derek Long back in the saddle, and I can see Derek riding this horse pretty much the same way as he rode him in that win, sitting just off the leaders here. Perhaps we'll see a horse like Adonis go forward and lead, as he has done a couple of times, but Flying Noble won't be far off the front, and I think that positions him really well to be able to do what he did last season. So the tip in race 4, Flying Noble, his winning factor, the pace. He's at the right distance, he's got his preferred jockey back on, and I think that the pace setup of this race will allow Flying Noble to be in the right spot to replicate what he did last season over this distance, while some of his major rivals are not really advantaged by the map. The second race we're going to look at on Sunday is race 8, the Hong Kong Classic Mile, and obviously this is the other end of the quality scale. And our winning factor here is the map. Now whether this is a vintage classic mile field is open to some question at this stage. It's something we often don't find out until later when we see the fallout from the results, but there's certainly some talented 4-year-olds in the race. And we look down them, the nominal Derby favourite at this stage, Dark Dream. We've got Furore, who's been racing particularly well in good class races. We've got Kaying Star, who burst onto the scene with a Class 2 win all the way for Tony Cruz. And it's a field with plenty of depth, plenty of talent, and how it shakes out here could depend on the map. But we're going to focus here on Dark Dream's stablemate Furor. And he was a horse who established his class in Sydney as a 3-year-old, a very unlucky third in the Group 1 Rose Hill Guineas there, when he was checked inside the final 200 metres and still managed to get third, albeit on protest. But he's a very talented horse, and he's shown us plenty from gate 13 in both his Hong Kong runs. Now, Furor debuted in race 262 when he was in a pretty good class race behind Conti. He drew 13 that day and was stuck out wide all the way. And if we look at how he battled away at the finish, that was a pretty good indicator that this is a horse going the right way for these 4-year-old events. Then at Furor's second Hong Kong run in race 321, he drew the outside, gate 13 again, and he was able to use his tactical ability to get over into a decent position, but he did have to use more energy in the early stages than the horses that beat him. Ka Ying Star, who was able to lead easily from an inside gate, and Easy Go, Easy Win, who was straight onto the back of that leader. Now, Furor carried the top weight in that race, and one of the key things in his favour on Sunday is that they come back to level weights after he had conceded a little bit of handicap poundage to the winner there. But I think more important is the map. And if we look at that map, this time Ka Ying Star, still possibly the leader in the race, is drawn out wide. Easy Go, Easy Win is drawn out wider. And instead of gate 13 this time, Furor has gate 7. Now, Derek Lung didn't do anything wrong on him, but Huey Bowman definitely a plus, and he gets the advantage of the better draw and a chance to use less energy early as he finds a handy spot behind the lead. Tactics are going to be vital in this race in what looks a pretty stop-start kind of event, and both the draw and the pace look problematic for horses like Dark Dream, Super Rich, and obviously the barriers are against the horses that beat Furor last time. So the tip in race 8, the Classic Mile, is Furor. His winning factor, the map. He hasn't had the best of things on the map at his first 2 runs in Hong Kong, Furor, but this time he looks to get all the advantages, while some of his major rivals have some tactical hurdles to jump that they haven't had to jump previously. Well, that's it from the winning factor. Good luck on Sunday, and we'll see you next time.